lot of people also want to be remembered by their descendants or the people, their children or grandchildren.
Of course.
Talk a little bit about maybe how, that ties into, sometimes creating problems, I suppose, in the legacy planning.
Right. Talking about legacy, let me ask you a simple question. If you had a choice.
Always turning the tables on me.
Oh, you know what? it makes it more interesting.
Okay.
If you had a choice to receive $250,000 cash tax-free or over a lifetime about $1.8 million tax-free, what would you choose?
Probably $1.8 million.
Yeah, over your lifetime.
Sure.
Right. The thing about that, though, is that when an inheritance is left behind, a lot of times that just disappears quickly. It doesn't last a lifetime. So let me ask you, if one of your goals was to be remembered well and thanked every year for multiple generations so that your name lives on for multiple generations, would that be a cool goal?
Sure.
Okay, let me talk about some practical problems, though, all right, that get in the way of that goal. First one is if you have a will, which hopefully everybody does, but typically not everybody does. Thing is that distributes any remaining assets all at once. So that gets spent quickly, right? So we're not talking about a lifetime of benefit there. If you have ownership arrangements, like, for example, you own something jointly, then that asset automatically goes directly to the named joint owner upon your death. So that, again, distributes assets very quickly all at once, and that will probably not last for generations, right? Some people, obviously you have beneficiary arrangements on IRA accounts, life insurance, annuities, pension plans, and so forth. And obviously that has to be updated if things go wrong. Let's say, or things go right. Let's say you have another child. If you have a child now and then another one comes along and you don't update your beneficiary arrangements and you leave everything to the one child, you're going to not be thought so well of by the second child, right?
Really like it, right?
Right. So you want to keep your beneficiary arrangements up to date, but even if certain accounts do allow for lifetime payouts, like an annuity, for example, most beneficiaries of life insurance, annuities, IRA accounts, and so forth, they pretty much have that spent before they get it. Wouldn't you say?
Sure.
I mean, if you are expecting an inheritance, you're thinking, should I pay off the house? Maybe I need to buy another house. Perhaps I need to, get a new car. Exactly. So it's typically spent before it's received. So again, if your goal was to be remembered for generations and you just leave everything by will or by beneficiary ownership arrangements, you're not going to accomplish your legacy objective, are you?
Well, no, it sounds like you can buy your way to forever in people's hearts and minds.
Well, yeah, but again, if we're thinking about multiple generations of memory, these types of methods may not work as well. But I do have a simple solution, and we'll get to that. Some people have trusts. Okay, and a trust is a very good way to protect assets and name people who receive it and basically actually detail how they will receive it and when. However, you've got the issue of who's going to be the trustee. If you name the people who are going to receive the assets as trustee, what are you accomplishing?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, you're probably not accomplishing a lifetime payout, right? Because if as trustee of the assets, you could probably just say, I need these assets today, or I'm going to spend them this way. See what I'm saying? So
sure.
Again, the trust is
really in that way you're designating what happens to the money, and with most people's ability to be somewhat selfish and not leave it down the road. Right.
And then, of course, there's the thing, well, do you have multiple trustees, right? Like if you have two children, are they going to be joint trustees? Or let's say that who's your backup trustee? If one of them becomes incapacitated or something, what's going to happen with those trust assets? Of course, the trust says what will.
Before you go on, maybe explain a little bit about what exactly the trustee does.
Okay, trustees, they basically take over ownership as you would. Like it would be as if you are the person still managing the money, but you're in the grave.
Is it some way like almost like you call it the CEO of the business who gets to direct everything that goes on?
Yes.
But it's not necessarily their money or their company, but they
Right.
get to play, they're under their direction.
Right. They're called a fiduciary, which means that they are responsible to manage those assets for the benefit of the beneficiaries. Now, of course, if they are the beneficiary, they're going to manage it for their own benefit.
Sure.
So, and then again, if you name a bank as trustee or a financial institution or an attorney, for example, then that's a kind of a way around the problem of the trustee spending all the assets really quick, right? So those are some issues, though, when it comes to a trust. It's kind of more complicated, but it's useful in certain aspects of protecting assets from divorce or, creditors and predators and so forth. Let's talk about a simple solution, though. Getting back to that question about receiving $250,000 versus $1.8 million over your lifetime, let's talk about using IRA assets, for example, and allowing the beneficiary to only take out of that IRA account the required minimum distribution and nothing more. Now we have an IRS table that's going to say, okay, you can only take out this small amount, and it has to come out or there's a penalty, right? But if it's a Roth IRA, that's tax-free income. If it's a regular IRA, it's no big deal. It's just added to your income. But the thing is now you have a pension that's growing because you're pretty much taking out less than what it's earning, most likely. So now you have a pension that's going to last your entire lifetime, and when you receive that, you get to name a contingent beneficiary in the event of your death, so you can leave it to the next generation, and they can continue to take it out according to the tables of the IRS. So
this is for rich. I mean, you got to have some money to sit. I mean, right? This is not for your maybe your average maybe the average 95% of people in the country.
Right.
Right. I mean, I'm thinking, geez, I could do that, and my kid would get like $30, and my grandkids would get like $40. I mean, it would be phenomenal.
But there are people out there with numerous assets, right? There are some people who have wealth out there.
Absolutely.
And so if they choose what assets go where, it could be a really great way to create a lifetime multi-generational legacy by using the IRA assets and allowing only the beneficiary to receive only the required distributions.
Right. And
the other assets can be spent. That's no big deal. But at least you have this legacy that goes on for generations.
It makes a lot of sense, Glenn, as we were talking about, the ability to be remembered. And unless you have a bronze bust of yourself somewhere, money is typically the way that people are going to, pay attention.
Sure.
You get that check, people are going to pay attention.
Every year you get a Christmas bonus, and this one's bigger than the one last year. See, the thing is that's pretty cool way to be remembered. So
might get some more people out to the grave site.
Well, I don't know about that, but let in the tax minute here, I just want to point out the fact that it starts small. If you take a little bit of your income and don't spend it all, but put a little bit into an IRA asset that you will need it later on in life, right? So accumulate those assets. Put money into the future, okay? And eventually you're going to end up with a sizable asset that you will draw on during your retirement years, but whatever you leave behind can become a great legacy.
Yeah. Glenn, how many people do you think, and again, we're here with Glen Thiessen, we just have about a minute left, but how many people do you think set these things up for themselves?
Not many, because one thing people don't know about this option, right? Because most IRA beneficiary arrangements allow for that just to be going directly to the beneficiary, and then the beneficiary just spends it. They actually, even if it's fully taxable, I've seen beneficiaries just cash out the IRA account and, okay, it's free money, whatever, I can net 30% of it, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. That's sad.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's, it just starts small. Just put some money away, accumulate it, and keep the beneficiary arrangements up to date.
Yeah, it sounds like that's such a key part, and we've talked before about the fact that these plans really are living. I mean, it's something that changes over time, and again, a great way to keep it living, maybe longer than oneself.
Right, and there's only a couple beneficiary arrangements, a couple of custodians that actually do this. So you have to have the right custodian for the IRA.